Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick Lepre of Stochastic.com, and in today's video, we're going to be going in depth into my week number 14 must-start and must-sit running backs for the 2022 fantasy football season. But before we could get on into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. Today's video is brought to you guys by DraftKings Sportsbook. We're going to be talking about a little bit later. If you have any questions about week 14, please ask down below in the comment section. So without further ado, let's get into my week number 14 must start and must sit running backs. We begin with my must-start running backs of the week, headlined by Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys, going up against the Houston Texans at home in Jerry's World this week. Last week, up against the Colts in week number 13 at home in Jerry's World. He finished the week as the RB number 8 in half PPR, tied with Saquon Barkley, having 17 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown, as well as 3 receptions on 3 targets for 14 yards. He has had 5 straight games with at least 1 touchdown, and in that stretch, he has had 2 games with 2 touchdowns and scored over 15 half PPR points in every single one of those 5 games. And now, this week, he faces up against the 28th ranked defense in rush DVOA. I know Tony Pollard is there, and I know if you guys watch the videos over on Notorious Fantasy by Stochastic, I always talk about how Ezekiel Elliott is basically a pest to this offense. If he wasn't there and they actually gave the rock to the better running back, Tony Pollard, then Tony Pollard would be a league-winning running back. But at the end of the day, that's not what we are going to get. We are going to get a hefty dosage of Ezekiel Elliott, and Ezekiel Elliott up against a garbage Houston Texans defense should be able to smash this week. Next up, we move to number 2, Isaiah Pacheco of the Kansas City Chiefs, going up against the Denver Broncos in Denver this week. In week number 13, up against the Bengals in Cincinnati, Pacheco finished the week as the RB number 11, having 14 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown, as well as 2 receptions on 2 targets for 16 yards. He has now had 2 straight games with a touchdown and over 15 half PPR points. Now, the Denver Broncos defense is the whole bright spot of their team. We make so many jokes about Mr. Unlimited, about how bad Russell Wilson really is and how much of a disaster this offense is, how Nathaniel Hackett is a certified stooge and needs to be fired. But the defense, again, really is that bright spot, especially against the pass. But against the run, they're pretty middle of the road, ranking 17th in rush DVOA. Jerick McKinnon is still going to get work in the passing game. Jerick McKinnon is never going to disappear, but Pacheco is still their main guy. And again, I know some people might be a little bit nervous because of the Broncos defense, but again, the Broncos defense is incredible against the pass. They're pretty just average up against the run. So I think Isaiah Pacheco, who's going to be seeing a bunch of carries in this game, will be successful and has the upside to be a top 12 running back in back-to-back weeks, because again, last week up against the Bengals, he was RB number 11. My final must-start running back before we pivot into the must-sit running backs of the week is Jeff Wilson Jr. of the Miami Dolphins, going up against the Los Angeles Chargers in LA. Now, last week, I got a little bit cocky onto the revenge game narrative for Jeff Wilson, and let's be honest with you, let's keep it real. The guy shit the bed in probably the largest way possible, but I can foresee, rubbing the crystal ball, that we have a big bounce back game for Jeff Wilson up against a garbage LA Chargers defense. In week 13, up against San Francisco, in San Francisco, things were bad. RB 78 in half PPR, tied with Jerome Ford, 1 rush for 3 yards and 2 targets for 0 receptions. He even fell over on one of those targets, which led to an interception for the San Francisco 49ers. But prior to last week's game, he had 3 straight games of over 10 half PPR points with a touchdown in all of those games. And again, the Chargers defense is absolute ass cheeks. They rank 30th against the rush in DVOA. So again, I got a little bit too high on my high horse about Jeff Wilson. I really liked him last week, even though every single metric was pointing towards him having an awful game. he did. I just didn't see it. I was like, oh, the revenge game. Plus, the Dolphins didn't really run the ball too much in that game. I think this week, again, they're playing up against one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. I think head coach Mike McDaniel is going to dial up a bunch of runs in this game for Jeff Wilson as well as Raheem Mostert. But again, it is important to remember that Jeff Wilson is the guy. Raheem Mostert's going to be seeing some touches 100%, but Wilson is their main back. But before we pivot into the must-sit running backs, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends and our sponsor over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, if you're a brand new user to DraftKings Sportsbook, and click on the link in the video description down below or in the pinned comment, all you got to do is deposit $5+ into your sportsbook account and place a wager of $5+ on any sport pregame money line from now until December 30th. And if your bet wins, again, if your bet wins, you will receive $150 in free bets. Now, I'm going to show you on the screen right now. Since you have to win your bet, I suggest you navigate to the top left of the screen and click on college basketball. And then for tonight, you bet on Purdue minus 5,000 versus Hofstra at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I feel as though they have a really good chance of winning tonight, thus giving you guys your $150 in free bets. Again, it is important to understand that if that bet wins or whatever bet you take wins, then you have 7 days from once the free bets hit your account in order to use them. You have to use them within the 7-day window. So make sure you guys do check that out. And if you live in Maryland, where sports betting just got legalized, you can actually get $200 in free bets instead of $150. Now we pivot into the must-sit running backs, beginning with Gus Bus Edwards of the Baltimore Ravens, going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Now, he was on this list last week, and that paid off swimmingly. Week 13 up against the Denver Broncos, RB 66. Get your kicks. Route 66 in half PPR, tied with a fucking fullback, Derek Watt, 6 rushes for 12 yards. The running back snap counts last week go as follows for the Baltimore Ravens up against the Broncos. Kenyon Drake, 47%. Patrick Richard, their fullback, 35%. Justice Hill, 24%. Gus Edwards, 24%. And the Steelers ranked 12th in rush DVOA. And I talked about this last week, how the fact that they have Kenyon Drake, and even though Gus Edwards is better than Kenyon Drake, that motherfucker still has the upside to take a lot of snaps away from Gus Edwards, and that is exactly what happened. And now they have Tyler Huntley under center, which means that they might actually look to run the ball at an even higher clip, which could quote-unquote help Gus Edwards, but a lot of those rushes might just go to Huntley. So this is a situation that I'm looking to steer clear away from. Next up, we move to running back bdge Dallas of the Seattle Seahawks, going up against the Carolina Panthers at home in Seattle. So a lot of people are going to pick up bdge Dallas this week because Kenneth Walker is expected to at least miss this game. And to be honest with you, he might end up missing the rest of the season. Week 13 up against the LA Rams in LA. Running back 49 on the week for Wiki bdge Dallas, having 10 rushes for 37 yards as well as a target. Dallas could be the lead back this week for the team, but if Travis Homer ends up playing, this could end up being a 50-50 split, a 55-45 split in favor of bdge Dallas, which honestly wouldn't be very good at all for fantasy production. I know the Panthers defense isn't the best against the run. They rank 22nd in rush DVOA. But ultimately, I don't want to throw all my eggs into the basket of bdge Dallas, even with all of the teams on bye this week. Final running back to discuss here, Kyren Williams of the LA Rams, going up against the Las Vegas Raiders at home in LA. Week 13 versus Seattle, RB number 69. Very nice, I like. Tied with Matt Breida, 3 rushes for 9 yards and a target. Week 13 snap counts at the running back position for the Rams. Akers, 72%. Williams, 28%. In week number 12, it was the exact opposite. Akers, 30%. Williams, 70%. And if Sean McVay is willing to fucking flip-flop like this at the running back position, you shouldn't feel confident playing either Cam Akers or Kyren Williams. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to say Cam Akers is a must-sit because there are so many teams on bye, and I can talk myself into Cam Akers, where there is no way in hell I'm starting Kyren Williams this week. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, as well as hitting that like button. It would help me out a ton. Please make sure that you check out our sponsor of today's video, DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, bet $5 on any pregame money line, and you receive $150 in free bets as long as your bet wins. Again, I suggest Purdue minus 5,000 versus Hofstra tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fantasy football is coming to a close. Sadly, the season is almost over, but you don't have to just go fully away from fantasy football, because you guys, if you are a brand new user to our website, Stokastic.com, you can actually get our NFL DFS package for 3 days for completely free. Clicking on the link in the video description down below, it has all of our projections, boom bust, ownership, lineup generator, all of these tools that helped me win $5,000 on DraftKings last Sunday. So please make sure that you guys do check that out. Link down below in the video description. I love you guys all so much. Hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy!